Aloha. So you can walk with it or whatever you want. But you have to be close to the mic.
Mai ka piko ka mokua mauna ua ke ai ka lana wau I tana hele mahina wawa o tawa I lele holo he I ke kani o ki hapu hamaku aku uho me kula I vine I e wahi mohala o na pualani hamaku aki hiloa ki hene lehua wahi pana o liloa e hulu na kanu o kaina e mai ke akua mai ke kino hiloa ana pua kama o kaina nei e ola mau e. I walk around planning, so. Aloha. Mahalo anui loa no na ohana no ki wahi o laupa hoi hoi. Mahalo for hosting this evening. Yes, my name is Joshua Lanakila Mangauil, born and raised in Honoka'a. I was a student in Honoka'a from kindergarten to 8th grade, and then Kanu Ka'aina, the first Hawaiian charter school opened up in Waimea in my high school year, and I moved to there. I graduated in 2004, became a teacher in 2005. And I have been teaching ever since. I came back to my home as the Hawaiian Studies teacher for Honoka'a Elementary, Intermediate, and High School for almost a decade. For a short time, I had to move over to Waiakea, in which last year I taught at Waiakea Elementary. That's a big school. I only taught 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I had 450 students. Love them. So Kalamai, I said I was going to be late, so I hope they never tell you it was a surprise. I told them like a week ago. So, but yeah, Kalamai, just coming over from more meetings, other meetings, meetings with your bosses. So, they're watching. So, Maikai, always Maikai. And so I just wanted to come in and share again. So I was asked to share from a perspective of culture. Mauna Awakea. I'm going to start with this one. So you know how I got plenty of media guys, they're like, oh, where were you? Where were you when they were doing this 7 years ago? I was like still in high school. Yeah. There's a lot of us who are now leading or stepping into this movement now with the knowledge that we were given and that we were trained in. You know, we are, or I'll talk for me. I am a product of the Hawaiian education movement. Yeah. You guys never know this. Still, even up into the 70s and early 80s, it was still illegal to speak the Hawaiian language in DOE schools. You know that? Yeah. So when people question the Kanaka Maoli as to where were you back then, well, I don't know what they're talking about, because even with every other telescope and development in the mountain, there's always been opposition. Yeah. But there was a time where our kupuna, they never have that voice. They just went through 100 years of institutionalized racism, where the language is banned. You ban a person's language. You disconnect them from their stories. When their kupuna speak and tell stories, or they hear their pules or their chants, they don't understand it now. Now our chants and our prayers told the history and the knowledge of the places. So if you no longer understand the language, you no longer can access that 2,000 years of knowledge that is held in these stories, that are held in the place names. Yeah. In some ways, yes, we are still blessed. People say, well, you guys blessed. You guys, language is preserved in all your street signs and everything. That was a step, but we are lucky. But you know what? For how many generations didn't know how to translate it? Because they were not allowed to. They were not allowed to know their mother tongue in their homeland. Yeah. And I know right now some people's minds, because, well, I'm just saying, if you guys think like the newspaper's right, what does this have to do with TMT? It has everything to do with a construction job of any kind on sacred lands. Okay? So right off the bat, I just want to put this out there. Like we've said it from the beginning, we are not against the science at all. So all these media out there trying to publicize it that, oh no, that, it's culture against science. That's bogus. Hello, look into our culture. We're very scientific. Yeah? We're extremely. So I'm going to explain an example of this. Looking at Mauna Awakea, because right now when people speak science, Mauna Kea, it automatically is astronomy. Well, here's the science of the Mauna, as it was seen by our ancestors here. Laupa hoi hoi, you guys have a very interesting role in the story of the science of Mauna Awakea. You know why it is, over there called Laupa hoi hoi? It comes from the goddess of the mountain. Yeah? I'll let you guys look that one up. This is your guys' place. So, I got tell you a different story. Mauna Awakea. Let me give you a nutshell. That's all I have time for. The mountain of Wakea. Wakea is the sky father, the great expanse of heaven. Okay? Mauna Awakea is the place where Wakea and Papa Hanaumoku, the earth mother, where they came together. And born from this union where they come forth, Hanau Hikiki Mauna. Born is the mountain child of Wakea. Okay? Now I see plenty of minds looking at me, science minds say, well, that's not factual. Well, you know what? You was there 4 billion years ago. No, you wasn't. So what does it really matter? This is our mo'olelo. And this is the one that we can connect to, that gives us an understanding and a relationship to our place. Because further in this mo'olelo, after the mountain and the sky is born from the union of the sky father and the earth mother, yeah, continuing with this, you hear the mo'olelo of the birth of the islands. There's the birth of the star mother. Okay, now I'm going to throw this one out there. You guys saw the video of that professor at UH Mano a couple weeks ago and take up the first 10 minutes of her class just at all her students about how important the TMT is. And when the one local brother just said, Kalamai, we don't have the same opinion, she was like, okay, you have to speak this story to this. Because she says, you guys need this because your ancestors didn't know this. Did you know that our bodies are made out of stardust? Your ancestors didn't know this. Let me explain. Wakea no hoi papa hanau moku, hanau Hawaii himotu, hanau Maui himoku. Hoi ho wakea no hoi a ho hoku gleni, hanau moloka I himoku, lana I kaula himoku. Lili o pupu na lua papaya ho hoku gleni, hoi ho papa no hoi a wakea. Hanau uahu himoku, hanau kawai himoku, hanau ni hau himoku. He ula o ka ho'olave. No ho wakea ya ho hoku gleni o hanau mai ka wakea kiki moa, he kiki alu o halo na kakainoa. Maki ua kiki alu la, kanu ia I hola mawaho o ke kala o ka hale I lalo o ke lepa mahope iho. Ulu mai ua kiki la kalono. O ka lau o ua kalo lau a kapaia o lau kapalili o ka ha o ua kalo lau a haloa. Hanau mai he keki ho. Kapala ko I kona inoa ma ka ha o ua kalo lau a haloa. Nā mai ko ke au nea pau o haloa hoi. I ke ia mo olelo. In this story of our creation, Sky Father also finds union with Ho'ohoku Kalani, the Star Mother. And from this union, a child is born. And from this first child that was born, though, they say his body was alu. Yeah, it was not completely developed. And so, wahala, the child was stillborn. And when they kanu, and they buried this child into the honua, into the earth, from this grew the first kalo, the first taro. And this mo'olelo, haloa, the long stalk and the quivering leaf, haloa nakalau kapalili. They had one more child, Wakea and the Star Mother, Ho'ohoku Kalani. This second child was the first Kanaka, the beginning of the human race, the lines of man. Okay, now, right there's your understanding. We come from the stars. Yes, we do. The human line comes from the Star Mother. So, tell us we didn't know this. Okay, that was like, that chant's like 1,000-something years old. I think we knew it. Yeah? Was it so important that we have to dissect it to death? No. We understand the relation. And that now, through that mo'olelo, teaches us how to live on this honua. Because in the mo'olelo, Papahanau Moku is the mother of the Star Mother. So we are raised by our grandmother, the earth. So in this mo'olelo, what does it teach us? How do you treat your grandmother? You know how grandmothers are. They give and they give and they give and they nurture and they take care. So what is your relationship back to your grandmother? If how we live and take care of this planet today is an example of how you take care of your grandmothers, shame. But you see how our science gets us to think at these things? It gives us another layer of connection, of understanding how we live. Continuing now with the mo'olelo of the mountain. Now the mountain is born when Kane, the creator of life, whose main kinolau or body forms we see manifested in the sun and in the fresh waters. What's one of the two most critical elements you need for life on the planet? Sounds pretty scientific to me. Yeah, Kane has to do with heat. Yeah, from the core of the earth to the sun up above, and the relationship of the two. Getting kind of scientific, I think. But in this understanding, Kane, when he comes over this land, he falls in love with this mountain. It's upon this mountain he bears forth his sacred daughters. The four primary daughters of Kane: Poliahu, Lilinoi, Waiau, Kahupokane. What are their forms? Poliahu, we all know, the goddess of the snow. Lilinoi, the goddess of the mists. Waiau, the goddess of the lake. Kahupokane, the goddess of the springs and the thunderstorms that come. What do all four of these deities have in common? They're all water. They're the daughters of the god of life, whose main form is water. You see the ohana, the family, and this understanding? So that he bears these daughters on the mountain. They're given kiai, guardians, who also watch over them. Ki pu'upu'u, kuauli, the hailstorm, the blizzard, water. Li hau, the frost. Mo'oinanea, the matriarch of the lines of the mo'o, the dragon clans, guardians of water. A couple thousand years, we recognize that the mountain obviously brings us our water. It is this mountain that stops the clouds, that prevents them from just floating over us. It is the mountain that captures it, that slows it, that compresses the clouds to allows it to rain here. It is the mountain that slows it to the point that it will rise up. It is the mountain that during the makahiki season, when the storms shift and come from the south, comes over. Ko'opokane does her work of pounding the kapa on Hualalai. When you hear the thunder on Hualalai, most often, right after, you will see the snows come to Maunakea. Yeah. Now, some things that they like to call us liars about. You know what the protesters are saying about the water, affecting the water, is false. They're lying. And so, have you guys ever had a comprehensive hydrological study on the mountain? No. There has never been a comprehensive hydrological water study on Maunakea. So operating, really, as they say, we've done the study. You're operating on small little water experiments. So reality, moving into this without really knowing. Okay? Above a certain elevation, there's hardly any water falls in that area. I don't know, I've been in there for a while. It rains quite a bit. And even with the smaller snow that we have been having for the past for the past while, but this was actually some pretty good snow this past year. Still hasn't come down like what I remember as a kid, but still has a lot. And when you walk through there, when you see that snow, a couple feet thick all over the mountain, that's millions of gallons of water. Don't tell me the water no come to Mauna Kea. The ahupua'a that Mauna Kea sits in is called Ka'ohe. This ahupua'a is the largest ahupua'a in the whole Pai'aina. You can fit some of the other islands inside this ahupua'a, this land division. Ahupua'a is a land division. I don't know if everybody's checking. It's an unusual shape too. But the beginning of this ahupua'a, looking back at some of the early maps, begins down by Pauilo. So Hamakua, this is very important to us, Hamakua. It begins as a very narrow ahupua'a that comes up from the cliffs. Then suddenly, once it gets up high, like Pauilo Mauka, it expands, huge, encompasses most of the mountain, and then comes back down and goes off toward Mauna Loa. You got to learn how to understand the language. See, now, if you don't understand the language, because you're not allowed to, I'm going to beat you if you speak your tongue. That's what we came from. Yeah. You're not going to understand this. We're blessed that we've been given that opportunity to learn this thing. So ka'ohe translates to the bamboo. Bamboo is another kinolau or body form of the god Kahane, element of water. Plants of nodes with nodes, ava, bamboo, sugarcane, are all kinolau of Kahane. Gotta see how we see it. Bamboo was always used, quite often used as a container for water. In the name of this land, from generations back, it is the container of water. Okay, so a couple months ago, UH all over the news, we discovered water in Pohakulo area. Duh. You're in Ka'ohe. We could have told you that 1,000 years ago, get water up there. They're shocked that the water's up that high. Get Kahopokane Spring. Kahopokane Spring's over 9,000 feet elevation. So that means there's water movement inside the mountain. That's called open your eyes. Sometimes, going with all the instruments, you blind. Yeah? Makaala. Yeah? Sometimes we so smart, they dumb. Yeah? Too much. Look, listen to the people who's been here for a couple 1,000 years. Yeah? Okay, kalamai. Getting a little excited. So when we talk about the Mauna and why it's important to preserve these things, carrying on with the Mo'olelo. In the stories, Kane deemed his daughters to be of such purity, of such divine beauty. The mountain is kapu. No mortal was to go up there. No mortal was to touch Poliahu. That's his baby girl. Okay, dads, your baby girl. Same concept. Yeah? Do anything to protect her purity. Yeah? Okay, a lot of this stuff we untrained. This is a new one. Or not a new one. It's a tradition of our kupuna that's been revived too. It's called makawalu. The term makawalu basically translates to 8 eyes. What does that mean? Okay, we're not just talking about 8 eyes on your face. 8 eyes, 8 perspectives. Look into these things on other levels. What did they represent? What are they teaching us? What does this mean? What is this kapu? If Poliahu is the snow, the kapu was to forbid Kanaka, humans, from going up into that realm and contaminating Poliahu, contaminating the snow, contaminating the highest waters, contaminating the crown of the aquifer. Some smut, right? Because if you contaminate from the source, it's all going downhill from there. It's called gravity. Yeah? So with that mana'o, that's why there was a principle thought in the old days why they didn't go up there. Then you have the mo'olelo of kukahau'ula. Kukahau'ula, a kanaka, an ali'i, who had such a love for the mountain. And as he say, looking at the beauty of the mountain represented the beauty of the goddess that dwells up there. And even knowing the kapu, he went, tried to go up the mountain. The kia'i come and block him, say, no, kapu, get back down. His heart pulls him again. He comes back up again. No, get back down. Again and again and again and again. His enduring love to go up there got the akua to think, go talk to her father. Now Kane come, he watch, he observe. No, the guy is even more though. No, he's not worthy of my daughter. But even after some time, they say the heart of Kane even softens. And so one day when Kukahaula comes up the mountain, the kia'i open up the path. Ooh. And for the first time, he is allowed to see Poliahu. And for a moment, he gets to hold her. And as he wraps his ahu'ula, his feathered cloak around the goddess of the mountain takes on the colors of the ahu'ula, the reds, the pink, the orange. Yeah? Holds her for a short time, and then the kia'i comes and says, you must leave. Kane will allow you only very limited time. I say it's like total daddy status. It's only when he's close to the ground, he's watching. So only at the sunrise can he come. But when Kane gets high, he must leave. When the sun comes down, he can come. But then he must leave. For me, this mo'olelo represents the kapu of how man is allowed to access the mountain. Very respectful manner to the goddess. And even still, just for a short time. Get up there, do what you got to do, get out. In all reverence and respect to Poliahu. What does that mean? Humans. Okay, we can open up. Compromise. The compromise was made then. Where our Kanaka was able to go up very quickly, gather maybe the ko'i, gather some vai, sometimes the hau, that hau is used for medicine, the high waters. Very respectful always to the goddess. And then you must ho'i. Keeping the place intact with full aloha to the goddess. What does that mean? Don't linger on the mountain. Do not go up there without acknowledging what the mountain is for. It is the home of the goddess, the home of the water. Yeah? And right now, so what's really spearing this and moving this is, okay, you see, right now, what's basically happened, a lot of this movement is led by most of us who are in our 20s and our early 30s. And the reason for that is because we have watched our kupuna and our makua bash their heads against the wall for years, trying to take care of our aina, fighting this corrupt system that allows all these kind of things to slip through for the promises of money. 13 telescopes on the mountain, every single one said they're going to help our economy. Okay, those of us who actually live here, I don't even have to explain it. We live here, you see the effects of it. They had 13 chances already. Not that we gave it to them. Not that our kupuna gave it to them. Not that the laws were properly followed for them to even be up there in the first place. So, for myself, I step up because I feel that it's my kuleana. Why? Because if I'm going to live in the shadow of this mountain, if I am going to drink the waters of this aina, then I have responsibility to take care of these resources. As every single human who is born, you are born with that natural responsibility. How dare you enter this realm and think that you're only going to take for yourself? And that is what is happening around the world. Why is this movement getting so much momentum? Because this is not the only place this is happening. All over the world, if you pay attention outside your own property, It's a trigger word for me. If you pay attention to what's happening in the world needs our scientists. The world needs education. But where are we directing that energy to right now? Right now, Hokulea making this big worldwide voyage. Yeah? Our canoe, using the stars, ancient wisdom, being followed by all the gizmos and the gadgets. You know what the purpose of this one? We've already proven we can sail by stars. That's not the objective. What is the objective of this sail? To spread a message. What is the message that Hokulea is carrying with them from Hawaii to the world? Malama honua. Take care of the earth. On top of Hokulea, right now, that's actually passing Australia. What ocean are they in? Oh, they're in Sydney. They never leave yet. Okay. But they're getting ready. On top of the va'a is a pahu, a box that was carved. You know what's inside that box? The pohaku from Maunakea. That set off a year ago. Now, with this movement, all over the world right now, people are speaking Maunakea. So now before the pohaku even get to these places, they might already know Maunakea. Because look at the message that we're trying to share with the world. To take care of the world. Why? Because we forgot our responsibility. We are living in a way that we're caring for ourselves. Uncle Richard, you talk a lot about the oil. And I supported you in OHA and the understanding that that is a very important thing that we need to pay attention to. Yeah? But there's two different perspectives of how to approach it. Oil prices are going up. Why are they going up? Because we're running out of it. Or it costs a lot to steal it from other people. So how do we address this? We got to make more jobs so people can work, so they can pay for it as they continue to inflate the price. Do you see a sustainable practice to that? Aole. And I support the efforts, all efforts, for green, sustainable energy. Yeah? Back 2009, I got to represent Hawaii at the Power Shift Conference. You ever heard of it? Most of you didn't. Why? Of course, the media's not going to tell you about that. It was the largest gathering in the history of the United States for green energy and environmental justice. Of course, you're not going to hear about that. A celebrity's butt is more important than that. Where are our priorities? So from back then, the push, and you know what? It was interesting at this conference. 12,000 attendees at this conference. 90% 25 and under. So to our makua and our kupuna here, the next generation coming up, many of us, whether we know it or not, we've observed the hell that you have gone through. We have observed the inflation of all these things that makes life harder and harder and harder. Some of you guys don't know what I'm talking about because you guys kind of live a little bit more luxurious. But those of us who actually live here, especially along Hamakua Coast, yeah, if we didn't get them to change the zoning laws on the land so you could put a house up there, living way over here, gotta drive all the way down to the hotels for jobs. Why? Because it's been programmed into us that that's the only way you can survive. You gotta make the kala. Here in this massive agricultural communities, we don't want too much farmers. Why? Because the education system teaches us that that's a low-level kind of job. Ole. You see how successful Uncle Richard is? Agriculture. Feed the people. But what happens here? Most of everything that we grow here, we ship them off someplace else. Now some already people think, well, we're not here to discuss that. We're here to talk about TMT. Okay, now there's a difference. The Kanaka see the interconnectedness of all things. Makawalu, the term makawalu, to see things perspective, multiple perspectives of one thing. What animal get 8 eyes? The spider, and the spider weaves a what? The web that sees the connection to all things. What's happening up on our mauna is the last straw. As it was just shared and some of this stuff, yes, there's been a long history of mismanagement of the mauna. Let's remind us all, the mountain, what is the zoning of the mountain? Conservation. That was put out by the American government. Conservation. What's the purpose of conservation land? To conserve the land. You guys been up Maunakea lately? Could you look over that viewplane and tell me that that's conservation? It's development. It looks like a bloody city. Some of the biggest buildings on the island are up there. I would still like to find the scientist or whoever there was in BLNR who can explain to me how that does not permanently alter the terrain. Let me quote myself. Are you Pele? Part of conservation law is whatever you build in the area, you need to be able to restore to 100% or back to its natural state. You guys stay blowing up things. We got the pictures. They went dynamite the pu'us. How are you going to fix that? You cannot. TMT, the building is what, 1.4 acres or something like that? And the footing underneath, what, 2-3 stories deep? Can someone explain how that big of a hole does not permanently alter the terrain? Okay, so in the next couple of weeks, we're actually developing a lot more of these community information stuff, but we're going to be bringing out artifacts. That's one of the tactics that we use that I'm shocked that it's such a thing that gets them scared. It's called showing the truth, airing out all the dirty laundry. As I told them right in the governor's office, if you hiding something, you better run for the hills, because you know what? A lot of our generation, we no more political filters. Yeah? I am not bound to, this guy's got to run for office next year, so I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not pointing at you, actually. But, yeah, I know what I filter. You stay playing that kind of games, we're going to sniff you out. Why? We're upholding law. Cultural perspective, if you look back in our history, we was really strict with our laws. If you look back at our history, most of our kapu were environmental laws. They were environmental. Of course, if you only look into it to the point of like what 4th grade teaches you, the kapu system was that if you catch a fish in the wrong time of the year, they're going to kill you. Really? You want to think a little deeper into that? Natural resource management. Since we've lost that, okay? Some of you guys maybe just move here and you think you're looking at Hawaii like, wow, it's absolutely beautiful. You realize that you're looking at complete devastation. You look at the beautiful rolling fields of Waimea. 100 years ago, that was, maybe 150 years ago, it was forest. 90% of our forests are gone. All the forest that should be there wrapping around the mountain, it's your watershed. Okay, so. Okay, bring me back here a little bit. Thinking. Okay, so. Had a good meeting today at the UH with President Lassner and Chancellor, and we had DLNR in there, and we had governor's office in there, and all the big whips. Uncle Henry couldn't come, TMT. I'll go meet with him later. And you know what they're talking about? How to take care of a mountain. Why? Because they know we failed. They failed. After 30 years, they're still not taking care of the mountain. And that they're asking, how do we, what is pono, what is, What is pono stewardship of the mountain? After 30 years, you're still asking that. So if they got to ask, that means, that tells us all right now they never pay attention. They have not paid attention. Yeah. So after 30 years, they're still asking, what is pono conservation or stewardship? One thing is abide by the law. If you're going to take on a lease of conservation land, your job is to uphold the zoning of the land that you just leased, which is conservation. From day one, when university got the lease, what did they do? Develop. Then you lease the wrong land. If your goal is to develop, that's the wrong land. That's conservation land. Yeah. So we're here to uphold law. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna address a couple more quick things. Is there a timer for me? I'm not. I can go on. About how much? Okay. Like I said, like Makavalu, the web is connected to plenty different things. You guys gotta come take my class. Right? A couple of things I wanted to address. A lot of stuff that's out in the media right now. And I'm going to put that one thing out here. We know that there has already been a PR firm that's hired and everything. Anyone in this room got the call from Massachusetts with the poll? You got it? And Tipua Kanahele got the call. How's that? She was telling us about that. And first thing you're like, oh, what do you think should happen to all the young people on that mountain, that are doing that? And she goes, I love them. And she was saying, the lady was like, I didn't finish the question. She goes, I love them. That's all you got to know. But I need to finish the question. If you're not going to listen, that's my answer already. If you're not going to take my answer, hang up. And she hung up. You can just hang up at Antipua Kanahele. Woo! I tell you, that girl better watch her butt. So yeah, there's huge dollars being spent to bash us. Okay? Right now you're looking at the violent, militant. Stand up real fast if you've been to the mountain, to defend the mountain. And there is the horde of angry Hawaiians. Don't believe everything you read on the news or watch on TV. Yeah? That's the kind of silliness that is going out there. That we're anti-science. What? Yeah. So one thing that we are, actually, and we have an agreement right there at that meeting we're going to make. We're going to come out with our own press release in conjunction with the protectors, with the UH, with the state. Yeah? Because we can't trust media. No offense, you guys. But to show, we're having civil conversations. We're being pono. Some people like to make constant calls and bug the police and the DLNR officers that were being unruly on the mountain. But you know what they tell them? Yeah, right. They bugging them more than us. Because we know how to conduct ourselves in our sacred place. Yeah? So in addressing the media situation, anything to sell. Yeah, anything to sell your newspaper, anything to get it on the news. Yeah, we know how that goes. And again, that's not anything toward directly to, well, I don't know. I can't say that. I was going to say, I'm not going to blame everybody here, but I don't know what you do. So, let me see. Are we doing questions after? Yes. Okay. So I guess I'll wrap this up. As far as a stand on the mountain, it's not going up. Period. With that, and this is what I shared today, and this is the conversation that we are having, and I've posed it out to everyone who wants to call themselves a protector of the mountain. We need to realize, yes, we are stopping something. So when we're going to stop something, we need to look at everything that, yes, it would have provided some jobs. Yes, it would bring some money to our economy. Kind of just crumbs, but some. What else did they say? And they'll be able to see things that happened 13 something million years ago. Meanwhile, back here, Auntie's still starving down the road. Yeah. So, with that, this is what we're posing out to all the communities. Lapo hoi hoi, Hamakua, all over. Start getting together. Start identifying, as we look to Maunakea, which is the piko, an understanding of the piko, that focus point, that energy, that mana. Yeah. Look to the piko and what's happening here. We're identifying our natural resources, our sacred space. And you know what? The health sacred space, the reason it's sacred is because it gives us life. That's why it's sacred. You cannot mix up Hawaiian spirituality with other religious practices. It's not the same. When we talk about gods, it's not the same than what most of you guys are used to, especially if you come from outside. It's not the same. It's not to say that it's wrong. It's just not the same concept. That's just the only word in the English language they could find that kind of gets close to what the term akua really talks about. Akua, of the spine, of the back, the support. Whatever gives life is an akua. So why we take care? Why is the mountain sacred? Because that's where the akua dwell. That means that's where the elements that bring us life dwell. Okay, I was wrapping this up. What was I going to say? Sorry. Finish the thought. I think I lost it. Oh, well. Okay, so. Wait, I had it. Oh, yeah, so the final thought that we're putting out to the communities, to look at your own areas. Pay attention to your area. Identify your natural resources. Identify your sacred places. The people of the place need to come back to being the stewards of that place. You want to call it your home? You take care of it. Yeah. As community, how are you going to malama your honua? How are you going to take care of your home? How are you going to take care of your place? That's the first conversation that we are putting out to everyone all over. People of the place need to start coming back and being given the opportunity to be the managers of their place. Not some dude in a suit sitting on another island tell us what to do. Yeah? As it has been proven, and all I can say to sum this up is, look around, and really look into the health of these islands. It's a great example of the health of our world. And that is where our generation is starting to put our foot down and say, enough. Yeah? So that mahalo anui no kakua pa, we'll get questions after.
Thank you, Lanakila.